Good morning. Today we are downtown Toledo. The Garmin Marathon Race Series, yeah, like that Garmin, is doing a marathon here. I'm out here to photograph it, and you guys are coming with. It's currently about 6:30. I've been up since about 5:30, so there's no light out here right now, so you're gonna have to bear with me. So we're down at the start-finish line. It's just behind me a little ways back here. We're just gonna wait on this corner. This will be the first turn. Today I'm using, my main camera is gonna be the Z6 III battery grip and the Tamron 35 to 150. I've got over here my little rig, stole one of my kids' strollers, and I've got my Z6 II with all the rest of my lenses. Probably gonna either put the 85 or a wide angle on there, probably switch back and forth between those and get some different shots. And then most importantly, I've got a chair and coffee in there also. In the past, I've done this on a bike if I was trying to follow like a certain person and bike, try to keep up with them. But today I'm just trying to get shots of everything, so I wanted to carry a little bit more stuff and not have to do 20 miles on my bike like I did last time. So we're doing this. We are walking. I've got a couple spots on the course picked out, and we're gonna get as many cool shots as we can.
As you'll hear me say many times throughout this video, my goal is to tell a story. Here I wanted to convey the movement and how fast everyone comes out at the beginning of the race. I did this by using a slow shutter speed. I was actually using shutter priority to let the camera figure out the rest of the exposure triangle. The secret is to find something that's not moving, focus on it, and hold as still as possible. I believe I was focused on the white line right in front of the runners.
Now we are heading up to mile 4. I just hit a mile walking on my watch. Got some cool shots at the start line. It was pretty crowded. There were a bunch of other photographers there. I forget who said it. Some famous, great photographer basically said that if there's a bunch of other photographers in the area, he goes somewhere else because he doesn't want to have the same shots as everybody else, which I think there's something to be said for that. So the local newspaper and those guys can get those shots. I got something there, but I want to try to go out and get some more unique stuff, show off the city. That's anytime you're doing this, you're looking for the story. So this is happening in downtown Toledo, so we got to make sure we get some shots of that. And it's not just about the runners. I'm not here shooting baseball cards, just super tight shots. We want the environment. I want to make sure I don't get run over by a car here. Looks cool, sun coming up. But anyway, we're looking for things that tell the story, things that show where we're at, show that we're not in some other city, showing off Toledo. All right, so here we are at, this is basically mile 4. I don't know if it's exact, but this is the next corner I'm gonna stay at. I got plenty of time to figure this out, so one of the things you gotta be looking for is what's your background gonna be. If I was shooting this way, sure, there's an office building, whatever, but not really all that cool. I know the sun is coming up over here, so I think I'm gonna go to that far corner over there, so I'll get the sunrise in the background and get the runners as they're making this corner. They're gonna be coming from over here, and I believe they're going that direction.
A few of these are bordering on baseball card shots, and by that I mean just super tight, just shows the subject, and you don't get any of the story from around them. And honestly, that's not inherently bad. The goal is to get wide, medium, tight, and detail shots to tell the full story of what was going on at any event you're covering. Another tip is to constantly be moving around. You'll see me go out, stand up, down, turn around. Each of those is giving me a different perspective and a different background. Every time you move, you get a different angle, and sometimes you didn't even know that angle was there. By moving around, it gives me cool perspectives like this that I wouldn't have got if I hadn't turned back facing this direction. And another shot at a slow shutter speed, really convey the movement going on. You know, some people like these, some people don't, but I'm a big fan of this stuff. It's also important to be able to work alongside other photographers, volunteers, whoever's putting the event on. You'll see me here crouched down to get out of the way. This is the official Garmin group coming through taking photos. Here's an example of a detail shot. Yeah, it's not the actual runners. There's a lot more that goes into an event than just the runners or whatever that is that you're covering. Don't forget the details. It's huge.
So the sun is not coming up like I was hoping. I was hoping to get the sun on people's faces as they were coming down the road here. But I do think this looks cool. Looking all the way down here, everybody coming at me. Get some cool backgrounds with runners behind them, buildings, all that kind of stuff. So hopefully the sun pops up soon. All right, now I'm working my way over to the next corner that I want to work from. Yeah, I think the bike would have been a better idea. You just cover a ton more ground. The stroller's working out nice. So I've got a spot to put everything. Had a sip of coffee already, but I think I'm only gonna get like 3 or 4 spots. Part of it is they go across the river and there's only like 2 bridges I can cross. I might try to get over one of them. We'll see. We'll see where everybody's at. Getting the finisher would be kind of cool. And if you're shooting for like a paper or something, obviously you have to get that. I don't have to. It's part of the story, but that's only one person. I'm trying to get as many people as I can, tell the full story of everything. So we'll see how this goes. Might start jogging again here in a minute, but the next corner is right up there. You can see the sun's coming up. Hopefully get some of that light in people's eyes, really make them come alive. We'll see. This will be mile, like, this is gonna be close to the halfway point, I think. Mile 5 or 6, I think, if I read the map right. We'll see when we get up here. Getting my jog in for the day too. So it took a lot longer to get over to that spot than I was thinking, so a lot of the people have already passed. So I'm gonna go over this bridge. They run half on this side of town, and then they go over the Maumee River and run a good chunk of the race on the other side as well. So we'll get some shots as we go over the bridge here. As far as my settings go, I'm shooting around 1/500th of a second. Mostly wide open. I've been playing with that a little bit, but for the most part wide open. And then I've been using auto ISO. My 35 to 150 is variable aperture. It starts out at 2, goes to 2.8. It's only a stop, but it's, if I can let the camera do it, then I don't have to fix that in post, which I'm gonna have a bunch of pictures here to do, so if I can cut that down at all. As far as that goes, I mean, there's a lot of people that say one way or another you have to shoot manually, whatever. If you know how to do it, that's great. I think that's the bigger thing, is knowing how to use your camera and knowing when to use certain things on there. There's a time and a place for all of that. So this is the Maumee River, separates part of downtown from the other side. So kind of the main part of downtown's on this side, and then East Toledo's over there. There's the big bridge, and then underneath it, there's a smaller bridge. That is where they're running on the smaller bridge. That's Interstate 280, a taller one, and then just a surface road underneath. So they go all the way down there, turn, and then they're gonna work their way back through the, there's a Metro Park over there. You probably can't see them on this. And then they're working their way back to the other side of town, cross over and finish right downtown. That was about the halfway point, give or take, close enough for this. That was halfway. So now we're heading back. I think I'm just gonna go to the start finish line. It looks like there's all kinds of stuff that's going on over there. Probably people, the 5K and 10K, most of those people should be done by now. I'm sure there's a good chunk of the fast half marathoners that have finished too. So we're gonna go back and start getting some of the after race stuff. I really should have brought my bike.
If you are looking to capture emotion, there is no better spot than the finish line of a race. Once I made it to the finish line, I learned that the leader of the marathon was still a little ways out. I decided to sit back and get shots of people coming across the finish line. I wanted to get the arch, the buildings, the crowd, really capture everything that's going on. I watched a documentary about the Olympics and how the photographers set up. And if you notice, every shot from the Olympics has the rings behind it. And that's what separates the Olympics from just a picture of any other event. I wanted to do the same thing here. The arch has Garmin and Toledo on it. And since this is the inaugural year of this, I thought these pictures would be extra special. I wanted to make sure to put that in the background.
County,
You'll notice, again, I'm not the only photographer here. The gentleman on the far left is assigned to cover the finish line and get a photo of each racer as they come across. They have these two work for Garmin, and they were covering the race, the same group that was in the golf cart earlier. It's important everybody works together so they don't get in each other's way. Again, more detail shots. Remember what I said about not getting in each other's way? Well, and no, it's not his fault that it's out of focus. That's on me, but we'll talk about that later. And just because the runners are crossing the finish line does not mean that the race is over. There's always tons of activities, vendors, food, all kinds of stuff that you definitely need to capture to tell the full story. I started with the beer garden.
All right, so we just made it back to my truck. I have a grand total of, it's scrolling, 4.38 miles that I walked. It's probably higher than that. It got stopped at some point. I don't know when. I just looked down and it was paused. So I don't know, we'll call it 8 miles just to round it, safe number there. I am now gonna start going through the photos. I like to get stuff out quick. I heard somebody say that if you don't get news out fast enough, it becomes history. This isn't like breaking news, but I wanna get these pictures done. So we'll get all the photos in on my iPad and then I will throw that preset on real quick. All right, we're gonna start with the Z6 III. This is always my main camera, really my main lens. It's that 35 to 150. You can cover so much with that. For me, it's basically replaced a 24 to 70, a 70 to 200, and a 35 1.8. Now, it's not perfect. There's a lot of stuff you miss out on with that, but to have just one body, be able to do all that, a lot of the stuff like here, yeah, you probably could be switching between the two, but a lot of stuff happens really quick, and it's nice to just be able to zoom on one lens, and then the other one I had a wide angle. So we'll see what the total breakdown was. Let's get down to today. Today, it's saying 558 photos. And I try not to motor drive. I don't need 14 pictures of one person running past me. Let's see, import to library. I really don't shoot at high frames per second all that often. If I'm shooting football or something, sure, I might do it. But for this kind of stuff, I'm not just gonna hold down the button, motor drive. I think if you shoot at a slower speed, frames per second, not shutter speed, it forces you to be more deliberate. It forces you to think about your composition. There's a bee flying around, but it's outside. Okay. It forces you to think about stuff a lot more and not just spray and pray and hope that one of them's in focus or that you get a good composition by chance doing it. So also, I don't really want to edit a million photos. So 500 is still quite a bit, but I was shooting a lot of different people. I mean, I'm seeing like bursts of like 2 or 3 here. And I think once we get the other card with the Z6 II with the wide angle, I guess I don't know how many photos I took, but I think we're gonna be definitely less than 1,000. We'll see, we'll go through, get these edited real quick and start getting them posted. That's part of the reason why I wanna get it started now, is it takes a long time because I don't have the greatest internet at home. I think I'm at 5 megabytes a second upload speed, which they're putting in fiber now, so we're gonna get that handled, but so we're trying to get this stuff up as quick as I can for people. All right, well, that's downloading and doing its thing. Let's get to the important stuff here. I really thought I was gonna drink more coffee today than I did. I didn't have as much time, which is good, I guess. No, that's not gonna work. Hold on. There we go. Perfect. All right, while we wait for the photos to download, a lot of times what I'm doing with these events is I upload my photos directly from my camera. Nikon, I don't know if other brands do this, but you can connect your camera. There's a whole process like on the app, and you connect your camera to your account, and then you connect your account to, I've got mine connected to Lightroom. I know you can do Dropbox. I think Google Photos, there's a few others, they're adding more. And then you connect your camera to Wi-Fi. I carry a Verizon hotspot with me. I can also connect it to my phone, my home Wi-Fi that doesn't have a password, password, but it can't have a splash page. So if you're at a hotel and it's like, welcome to Hilton, and you gotta like hit I agree, you can't connect to that, which I don't understand. That'd be something I wish Nikon can fix, that you could access those. Because a lot of times there's the free Wi-Fi, the public Wi-Fi, not the most secure, but if somebody wants to steal the photos that I'm gonna put out for free anyway, whatever. So you connect your camera to internet. Well, hold on, let me just get. So you do this upside down. So in the menu, it's called the Nikon Imaging Cloud, and you'll connect that, and then you connect it to Wi-Fi. So there's my hotspot right there, and then you go to the playback menu. You hit the I, and then you can hit select for upload to the cloud. Hopefully you can see that and read that. Then it automatically uploads it for you. So a lot of times when I'm doing events, or if I'm I do a lot of stuff with like the fire department for photography at house fires and accidents and that kind of stuff. The football games I'm shooting, all of that stuff. As I'm going, I'm constantly uploading photos, and by the time I get home, they're all waiting for me in the cloud, or on my through the cloud. They're waiting for me on my Lightroom account. It's nice because I can edit them on my phone. So if I'm at like a fire or some sort of breaking news, I could have done the same thing for the winner of the marathon. Just upload those individual pictures, do a quick edit on my phone, and post them right away. Just a really quick way. I've heard people doing weddings do that. They upload not all of the photos, but their favorite photos, however many that ends up being. And then if something happens to their camera, it gets stolen as they walk out to their car, at least they've got those photos that are saved and good to go. So that's how I normally do it, but I got behind. I started kind of watching the marathon, and it would have taken forever to do it. So we're doing it the old-fashioned way, doing it on my iPad. So what I do with these, like I said, I don't want a ton of pictures of the same thing. So we're gonna go through and just find the ones that I'm gonna get rid of. That's good. So we will do this. This is the most tedious part. You got to make sure you don't delete things that you want. Make sure that you're choosing the right ones to keep. And as you can see, I don't do, like I was saying earlier, I don't do a lot with motor drive. I don't do any, try to get one, maybe two pictures of each thing. Those are good. And the goal here is to tell the story of what was going on, the things that I was looking at as I was walking around. And my goal anytime I'm doing something like this is to tell the story in a way that if somebody wasn't there, they can look at my photos and get the same general feeling. They can. My goal is to get it to. My goal with any time I'm shooting an event or anything like that, especially a big event like this, is for someone who wasn't at the event to be able to look at my photos and feel like they were there. So I try to convey the emotion, everything that was going on, to tell the full story. That's the goal. It doesn't always happen, but that's what I'm thinking of when I'm going in. A little concerned looking at my images from the guy that won the marathon. It's my fault. I was trying to focus, use the single button or the single box focus and keep it right on him, just so it didn't back focus on anybody in the crowd or anybody standing around. But it looks like I may have been off a little bit when I was trying to keep that on him. We will see. All right, so just got done going through, culling all those, at least the first round. I kind of do a big cull, and then as I go through and edit each individual photo, if there's something off with it, I'll delete it if it needs to be. Try not to have a bunch of the same photos either. So we ended up with 242 pictures. So that kind of shows you the amount of stuff that was, for the most part, that was just duplicates that I was deleting. There were a handful that were out of focus. I try not to delete them right away if they look out of focus. I want to wait till I get them blown up, look at them on here and see exactly what it looks like. Sometimes if it's a little bit out of focus, you can't really tell. Yeah, so now I'm gonna throw my presets. So the way I do this, I get them in here. I've got a preset that I do. It's just kind of my style, and it's just some basic tweaks, nothing crazy. We'll let that get started. We're gonna throw that on all of them, and then I'll go through and tweak individual things. I saw a couple where the white balance was funky. Like one of them was like pink. I don't know what happened there, but luckily I'm shooting raw, so that's a pretty easy thing to fix. I've got a handful that I need to straighten out. A couple of just somebody's running by and I just pull the camera up real quick and my lines weren't straight. That's something I am very particular about, is getting my lines straight. So You can adjust it in camera. It's best to get it right from the beginning, because then you start cutting off things and cropping and your quality goes down, and there's a whole long list of stuff. Just best to get everything right in camera, but shooting raw, I'm able to make a lot of those adjustments after the fact if needed. Luckily, it's not 10,000 pictures that I need to adjust. It's still gonna take me a little bit of time. So we'll get this going. I think once this is starting, I'm gonna start driving home, and then I'll finish the rest of it once I get home.
This is going to be the end of part 1. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, because in part 2, we're going to go through some of the final edits and talk about how to build a photo story based off of those edits.